Hey YouTube, welcome back. In today's video, I am going to be talking about how I experience pain as an autistic person. But before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, just because I experience pain in one way doesn't mean that every autistic person experiences pain in the same way that I do. Because as you know, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. One thing that's very common if you go online to different websites about autism and you look at some of the traits of autism, what I see a lot on these websites is um, that some autistic people have a very high tolerance to pain. They can, some of these people have such a high tolerance to pain that if they were to get tasered or something, they're like, what's that? It doesn't phase them because they have a very high tolerance to pain. What's missing in a lot of those websites is that on the other end of that, many autistic people are super hyper sensitive to pain and have a low tolerance to pain. That is me. I have a very low tolerance to pain, so everything that I experience is amplified due to my sensory issues. Now, that's not to say that I don't have very extreme pain. I've had a lot of health issues that have come up unexpectedly in my life that have required surgery. And though the surgery was a success, I still experience a lot of pain with it to this day, such as my spinal fusion surgery. What happened to me was in my early 20s, I was bending over tying my shoe, and it just felt like something pulled right here, like, ah. Well, over the course of, a few days, it got worse and worse and worse, and I was literally laying flat on the floor in tears. I kept going back and forth to the emergency room, and they were at that time they were more lenient with pain pills, decent pain pills. And so they were giving me pain pills and stuff like that. Well, it was 10 or 11 visits later, and they were starting to imply that, we're not going to prescribe you pain meds anymore, thinking that's what I was there for. And because they just kept sending me home, telling me, do these little exercises, if it gets worse, come back. So I did keep going back because it was awful. I was really suffering. It felt like something, like there was a string just pulled. My arm was going haywire. And, at about, I don't know, roughly the 10th or 11th visit, we finally, asked, doctor, could you please just do some kind of a MRI or a CAT scan, whatever you think would be, the best way to, kind of see what's going on. And the doctor said, you know what, that's a good idea. We're going to go ahead and do that. So they did, and about 45 minutes later, when they looked at the results and made the report, a whole team of people came in with a neck brace and a backboard and said, Mr. Michael, you are going to need emergency surgery because you've slipped a disc so bad that it is pinching and endangering your spinal cord. So they took a bone from my hip and fused it, so I have metal up in my discs, and so I can ride roller coasters, I can do whatever I want, but I have pain to this day. And let me tell you, I can feel storms coming deep within my bones. So, kind of along that line, what gave me the idea to do this video today was because I am going through a new health issue right now, and we're not exactly sure where it's coming from. It's similar to carpal tunnel, but because it's these three fingers that are numb instead of this side of the hand that's numb, it's probably not carpal tunnel, but it's a very similar carpal tunnel type thing that stems from, I think my doctor was saying, the ulna. And so that's awesome. She got me onto a list to wait for some kind of test that shoots up and down some kind of electrical current. It's not going to be comfortable, and I'm a little bit confused as to whether that's to diagnose it or whether that's to treat it, but they'll sort all that out. I'm waiting for that appointment. Also, it could be that, and if it is that, it's either from resting my elbows on the seat, or it's just another place that my autoimmune psoriatic arthritis issues are going. as the inflammation and the pain dances around from joint to joint to joint. Sometimes it can be in my knee, sometimes it could be in the other knee, sometimes my elbow, sometimes I get uveitis in my eye. Um, there's just it dances around kind of wherever it wants to go, and it's just kind of where is it going to go next? And then sometimes it goes away and I'm fine. There's also another possibility that it could be because I have the disc issue here and I have degenerative discs. It could possibly be that it looks like I've compressed or kind of slipped and or compressed the disc above where my spinal fusion surgery is and the disc below. And so it started with this hand on November 2nd. I remember the day perfectly because we were on our way to the Fur Ball, which is a fundraising dinner event for the Watermelon Ranch Animal Rescue. Everything was fine. Everything was going great. And all of a sudden, I felt like a pinprick right here. And my hand went numb. I thought, sometimes my hand goes to sleep when I fall on it or I'm sitting in a weird position. So I just thought, let me get up and move around. Well, over the course of the night, it just would not get better. And I felt absolutely fine. And but then it started to, when I would take a deep breath, it felt like I hit my funny bone, and it sent a jolt down my arm that either shoots out through this finger or this finger, and it makes my body push out adrenaline, and I get all shaky and start to have panic, and it's awful. It's like when you're at a carnival and you test your strength and you go to hit that bell and the thing goes ding. It's like torture when it happens. And so I live with the numb fingers. Started with this hand, and then it moved to this hand, and this hand is actually worse. These fingers are just numb all the time. These ones come and go, but this is the hand that gets those jolts, those electric jolts. So I did go to the emergency room just to make sure that like I said, it was awful. I went to the emergency room to make sure that, it wasn't, some type, cause and they checked me out for, strokes, heart attacks, all that things. And nothing like that. Your heart's it actually looks really good for somebody your age. And so I'm waiting for my MRI to have to wait until like the middle of January to that. And the last few days I have been getting flare-ups again. And the flare-ups can last for 15 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it just goes back to being numb. But during that time, one of the reasons why I think it may be my disc is because when I take a deep breath, it's causing pressure on that, and it's shooting through and it's causing that. It is really, really unbearable. So I'm kind of just living like, oh, when is it going to happen next? When is it going to happen next? Because it's awful. And so I have a very low tolerance to pain, and that's not to say that this pain isn't extreme, which makes it even, worse for me when there's bad pain and with my tolerance to pain. So because some people and some autistic people, in general have a high tolerance to pain, others like me have a very low tolerance to pain. I'm not a big fan of the pain scale. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your pain is? Because it's like, well, pain is relevant, to everybody. People experience, pain in different ways. Some people's 4 might be another person's 10. And so I'm not a big fan of trying to put a number on my pain. I would rather just say, it hurts really bad. Please see what's going on and see if you can help me. And you're like, well, I've had that used against me before because they're like, well, we have to put something on there. So give us an estimate of your pain. And I said, okay, well, then my pain's about a 7. And the triage, person said, "Oh, okay, good. Then we're not going to offer you anything for pain because usually the person doesn't need pain meds unless the pain's like starting at an 8." Well, I feel like she was just gaslighting me because she probably thought that I was there for pain meds, and I absolutely wasn't. I even tell them I don't want anything for pain. I'm here because it hurts and I want to find out what's going on. But right now it's a very hot topic with the opioid crisis and everything, that they're not wanting to, they're all kind of playing a big game with each other as to who can prescribe the least amount of pain meds, and kind of walking around patting themselves on the back as if they didn't just push all the drug addicts to the street market that's plentiful, and the only ones that they're really making suffer now are the people with legitimate pain. So whenever you take one weed out, you have to worry what's going to grow back in its place. So I'm not a big fan of the pain scales, and I absolutely, if and when I do get pain meds, I will get them from one doctor, not from going to the emergency room and asking for pain meds. But the triage person didn't know that, so I just felt a little bit like, oh, well, if it's just a 7, if it was an 8, it's like, yeah, whatever. So I'm living with that right now, which is what gave me the idea to talk about the pain. And another thing, that way that pain affects me in a negative manner is even something as simple. I have a very low tolerance to pain, and even something as simple as when I have to go to the bathroom, when I have to pee. I mean, some people that I know, even older people that I know, they'll like spend the afternoon at my house or whatever, and it's like I didn't see them go to the bathroom at all. I'm going back and forth to the bathroom every half an hour. Sometimes my bladder fills rapidly, and I have to go like a couple of times in like 15 minutes. Because with me, it's like even if I have to pee just a little bit, it's like I can feel it, and I'm like, oh, it's like all that I can like focus on until I go and completely empty my bladder. So I know where all the bathrooms are around the parts of town that I spend, most of my time in, so that I can know exactly where I can go to bathrooms that are, fairly available and easy accessible, that you don't have to, ask for a code or something like that. So I know where all those are, because I'm just a joy to have when you take on a road trip. I'm just a joy with how often I have to pee. So, but yeah, so I have a very low tolerance to pain, and like I said, when a lot of autism websites that talk about the different traits of autism, one of them is they'll say that some autistic people have a very high tolerance to pain, which is true. What I see missing a lot is that some autistic people also have a very low tolerance to pain due to their sensory issues, and so it kind of can go either way. So right now, speaking of knowing all the bathrooms all over town, I have been pretty much not leaving my house, and when I do, I've pretty much been staying within about a mile of my house, because when the numbness when it flares up and it really turns into that shock that goes down my arm, like I hit my funny bone really hard, it pushes my adrenaline out, and I actually start shaking, because I mean I'm scared, because it's so intense when it happens. It's like torture. And so I haven't exactly what I've had success for lately on trying to get that to calm down when it does flare up, is I'll go lay flat on the floor and just kind of take the pressure, off of my back. And so that has helped so far, but it just hasn't happened enough times to know exactly if that's going to help every time, or if it's going to get worse or not. So I'm living in fear, to be quite honest, as to the next time that is going to flare up and happen again. And so every time, every moment that it's not doing that, I'm very, very thankful to be able to, just kind of, live in some kind of peace, because it does feel so awful. So I wanted to talk about pain, and I did. So I'm going to say thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day, people.